Hey Michigan fans, welcome back to the Fool Show. Of course, I'm Foolish Phil. Just doing a little recap of Michigan versus Maryland. Michigan takes the game 38-7, and I was a little worried about this game. Not like thinking Michigan would really lose the game, but how flat would they come out? They had the huge victory under the lights last week versus Notre Dame, and you just know they're going to have a down game. You just know it, and it's up to the coaches and of course the players to not let that happen. And it kind of happened, it kind of didn't. And so Michigan gets the win, 38-7. Great. I mean, what a start. Giles Jackson takes the opening kick, 97 yards for the touchdown. Michigan gets a couple defensive tackles for loss, gets the ball back, short field, goes down, scores 14-0. Like, all right, let's go. We're going to take this game, just by the throat. And it just didn't happen. Give credit to Maryland. They honestly, this seemed to me like Army Part 2, where if Maryland would have just kept running the ball and running the ball and running the ball on all four downs, it's like they got a first down every time. It's when they got, kind of, if you will, cute, right? I'm not saying they can't pass the ball, not like Army. Army, isn't really a passing team. But when they tried to pass, that's where they, had negative plays, zero yardage plays, and all of a sudden it was longer downs, and then they had to pass, and then you'd get sacks, right? Uche and the defense started getting sacks. I think they ended up with only 4, but there was a lot more pressure, and the Jackson had to do throwaways and such like that. It really seemed like Army Part 2. The only difference is Michigan got up early. The Army game, they did not. It was a dogfight the whole way. And after Michigan was up 14-0, they had 3 straight 3-and-outs. But I think this was a big key turning point. The aggressiveness you see in this team, it's a little change, and I like it. I appreciate it. The aggressiveness. It was 4th and 1, and Michigan went for the fake punt. They got it. Then the next play, a deep bomb to Nico Collins, 50-50 ball, he wins. Charbonnet gets his second touchdown of the game like a play or two later, 21-0. I like another aggressive thing I'm going to point out. They could have just sat on their timeouts at the end of the first half. Instead, Harbaugh calls some timeouts after the defensive stop. We get a nice play to the tight end down the sideline, set up a field goal. Sadly, Moody missed the field goal, but it was aggressive. It wasn't just sitting back like, oh, let's just go into halftime like the Illinois game where I think Michigan just let their foot off the gas, and that game nearly bit them because they did stop, putting the pedal to the metal. So 21-0 at halftime. The second half, that's where I think Don Brown really keyed up the defense. I don't know what Maryland's doing. They're a running team, and all of a sudden their first possession of the second half, they throw 3 straight passes and they punt. No completions. I don't know what they were thinking. Their bread and butter was running the ball in the first half. They had a couple 12-play drives, had the pick, had the missed field goal. But they were running the ball well, and all of a sudden they decided to just pass. And 3-and-out. Michigan, back and forth, back and forth. Eventually they get up 28-7. Nice touchdown, nice pass. I really like that pass, TD pass to Eubanks, I think it was, because they run that power formation a lot where they have the tight end sweep over Eubanks. And then he'll block that guy coming off the edge, and they'll run up the middle. This time, Patterson holds the ball because Michigan's been running that play so much. The defender sucks up just a little bit. Eubanks goes right behind him, touchdown. Then Haskins gets the last touchdown of the game, basically on the same play, except for this time they run up the middle. Obviously, the offensive stats weren't really what you hope for, but that's what happens when you get a couple drive. The first drive, kickoff return. Of course, you watched the game if you did. The only points Michigan gave up was on a kickoff return they gave up themselves when it was 35-0, I think it was. Then it was 35-7. I think that's how it went. I gotta say, special teams gets the game ball. Kick return for the touchdown. Punt block. They did a great job punting. Will Hart really changed field position a couple times in there when we were doing our 3-and-outs. He got some 53-yard punt to 48-yard punt, really switch position. I love seeing Daxton Hill on punt coverage. I mean, I don't want to have an injury like Jabril Peppers got injured his freshman year and how that went poorly. But, man, Hill is fast. fast. He's like the first one down. He's obviously a gunner, right? Last week he got 2 fumble recoveries in the Notre Dame game. He's down there so fast. I like how they're sprinkling him into the defense. Obviously, he's going to be a starter next year. Hopefully no injuries. I'm kind of surprised he's not playing a little bit more. I guess that's a testament to how the secondary's kind of solidified on their own. It's a win. Michigan gets the win, convincing fashion in the end, 38-7. The defense really settled down in the second half. There were no long drives anymore. And 38-7. What can you say? You go on the road in basically a pseudo home game for Michigan, even though it's homecoming for Maryland, and you get the victory. Some little tidbits. I thought the broadcasting crew was very boring to me. They didn't seem to really be adding anything to the game. They didn't tell you what was happening. The first possession of the game, the first play of the game, Maryland did what was really a lateral, lost 6 yards. They didn't even say anything. All of a sudden they had to catch up on third down. Oh, it's 3rd and 16 because that first play was a lateral. And maybe I missed it. I could have missed it. But Maryland's second possession of the game, Michigan kicked off. It was 14-0. Michigan kicked off, and it was through the end zone. And Maryland got the ball at the 30 instead of the 35 for the touchback. If Michigan was offside or anything, they did not say it. They didn't show the refs. Okay, I was holding my little girl, and she was sleeping, so maybe I was doing something, writing on my notepad. Maybe I missed it. But the second possession Maryland had, they started at the 30-yard line. Did anyone else catch that? That was on a touchback. It should have been the 25, and no one said anything. I didn't hear them mention any penalty or anything. So again, the crew was just kind of blah. I don't know, Levy, Greasy. I know Greasy's a Michigan guy. I loved him at Michigan. National title, great, good NFL career, but just blah. And then they got the 2 sideline reporters. I don't know why you need 2. You got McShay and that girl who I can't remember her name offhand. Sorry. And the crew was just kind of blah. But so they didn't do anything for me for the game. But maybe I got spoiled by having the best crew with Herb Street and 2 Saturday nights in a row. So it is what it is. What are your guys' thoughts about the game? 38-7. The offense didn't really look that great, but it's 38-7, right? It's hard to find complaints when you win 38-7. They get a week to rest up, a week to prepare for Michigan State, who will have to play next week versus Illinois. So it is what it is. 38-7. Woo! It's nice when that's kind of your blog game is a 38-7. Isn't that a nice change of pace versus the first Army game where Michigan could have easily lost that game? And probably should have lost that game. Hey, thanks to all my new subscribers. I appreciate that. Thanks to all those views. If you got any comments, put them in the box below. I'll try to respond as I can. And as always, I'll talk to you next time. And go blue!